Hey guys, great to have you here. I'm very excited for today's episode because today my guest is David Meltzer. Probably tons of you follow him on social media, watch him on YouTube, or been to an event that he spoke at. Now, David Meltzer is the co founder and CEO of Sports One Marketing, and he used to be the CEO of the Leigh Steinberg's Sports and Entertainment Agency, which is the inspiration for the Jerry Maguire movie. Great movie, by the way. He is huge on motivation and help people get what they want out of life. So I am really happy to have him here. And if you're into motivation, if you don't understand how to get your life on track and get all the things that you really want to have in life, if you're looking for some kind of a philosophy to live by or get your motivation from, today's episode is exactly that. So, click the subscribe button and let's rock and roll. Hey David, what's up?
Hey Dino, I am doing well. So excited to be here and looking forward to having a very
Nice.
insightful conversation with you.
Sure thing. I gotta say that just before we jumped on the call, I watched you on Instagram Live, which was really, really cool. And today's Friday. We're recording on Friday, so that's your free training every Friday on Instagram, right?
Yeah, for the last 20 years, not on Instagram, but I've been doing free trainings for 20 years. I'm on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And one of those ways is not only using my podcasts and my books and my speeches and all the videos and courses that I give for free, but the free training's my favorite. Every Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, I get on for an hour. Today's closing the deal, how to close the deal. And if anybody misses, I'm blessed. Spotify now features as a playlist all of my trainings. And of course, it's available on Entrepreneur. It's available on every platform, but I'm blessed that Spotify has graced me by featuring it as a playlist
Nice.
in a feature. So you can check out all the trainings. And I give my guides, exercises, and courses and books for free. So they can just email me too, david@dmeltzer.com. But thanks for bringing that up because that's my mission in life.
And I like the fact that people may don't believe it, but you're super accessible. You're super busy, let's say, or
Active,
active.
active.
Active. You're super active. I like the fact that you don't like the word busy, and I don't as well because most people just they're getting busy, just to think that they actually do something, even though they're actually just wasting their time instead of just like you say, being active and actually do something. But you're super accessible. We're emailing each other and messaging, and anyone can do that, right?
Anyone can do that. I do have a 520 rule so I can be accessible. And accessibility is such a great word, right? It's not only being accessible to people like you, Dino, and everyone else, but it allows me to access what I want, right? Knowing my values, taking inventory of what I want and accessing what I want by being accessible to other people, by building the oneness and the unification, allowing myself to clear the interference, not just between what I'm connected to, this great powerful source of power and light, love, and lessons, but to everybody else. But in order to connect to everybody else, you have to be accessible first to access what you want. So radio, print, TV, phone, whatever it is, I'm accessible. In between the IG Live that you were on and the few minutes that I have to register for this interview, I made 3 phone calls to people that had reached out to me with some questions via phone. And you should see how surprised they are because nobody, it's one thing to respond, but nobody reaches out. I reach out.
And if we're talking about reaching out and you have like the 5 minutes rules, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you this. What happened when you talk to someone or you schedule a meeting and you're on the phone or whatever, 5 minutes pass and you're like, so what? You say, hey, dude, sorry, that's it.
Well, because I take inventory of my values every day, right? I know where to prioritize my time. Everybody knows before they get on, they're scheduled for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to reschedule if you need some more time. Or if it's priority by my values, I'll let it run over. I'll make an exception. And then I thank the person that I may have run into their time for their patience. I never say I'm sorry to anyone. I thank them for their patience. I thank them for their understanding. I thank them for their humility, generosity, whatever it is I'm thanking them for. I think that being sorry is a diminishing capacity, is a negative energy. I shouldn't feel sorry. I should always be grateful for the understanding or for the patience of others, of what they do have, not what they don't have.
I'm very much like you when it goes to sorry. I don't believe in, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry for, let's go over that sorry. There's nothing to be sorry. You know, life is not about being sorry. Life is about going forward, learn from your mistake. So as long as I know that you learn from your mistake and you will think about it next time, I don't need your sorriness.
Yeah, well, lessons and forgiveness erase your mistakes.
Do you have a 9 to 5?
I have never had a 9 to 5 job. So I've always, from the day I graduated law school, I went into a sales job. So I had a 24-hour activities. And because I believe sleep is an activity, I look at things as activity I get paid for and activity I didn't get paid for as a salesperson. And one of the things we're going to talk about today in closing deals, you have to have the perspective. You want to maximize the activity you get paid for. So if you're going to watch your son's baseball game, you want to figure out, how can I help the people that are in the stands with me when my son's not up or not in the field, or maybe not, he's not in the action? How can I be asking people, hey, do you know anyone that can help me? Is there any way I can be of service or value to you? In person, on the phone, via email, social media, radio, print, TV. I am 100% active. I'm consistently trying to create activity I get paid for, so it can come through me and I can help others. I create abundance.
Now, when this all of that started, because you were a little bit different back in the days, then
Yeah,
life happened.
correct. So, my life is an evolution, not a revolution. So, once my brother, when I was 18, gave me this kind of idea to be more interested than interesting. He gave me a shell shock, because my mom always said, you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a failure. And so my freshman in college, I decided I wasn't going to be a professional football player when I got ran over my first play in college. I literally was lying on my back saying doctor, lawyer, failure. But my brother, my oldest brother, changed my life. He was a doctor. And I went to see him. And the first thing I said to him when I met him at the hospital was, man, I hate hospitals. He almost fell over. He's like, what are you talking about? You're pre-med. You are going to be a doctor. How can you hate hospitals and be a doctor? I said, well, I want to be a sports doctor. I'll be in locker rooms and sidelines. Sports doctors aren't in hospitals, are they? He goes, David, every doctor spends an inordinate amount of time in a hospital. You need to be there to learn to be one. David, you need to be more interested than interesting. And so from the time I was 18, instead of my life being a revolution, it was an evolution, because I was constantly trying to learn or find the light, the love, and the lessons. I had this philosophy. I love where I am today. I'm at the right place at the perfect time. By being more interested than interesting, I'm going to angle towards what I want, which is determined by the values that I take inventory every morning: personal, experiential, giving and receiving values. And I'm going to have faith that I'm going to end up somewhere better than that. And through that exploration, I learned this lesson behind me. You can see, money doesn't buy happiness. Because from the time I was 5 years old, I wanted to buy my mom a house and a car. And I truly believe the only missing piece of happiness in my life I was going to buy, because the only time I wasn't happy was when we couldn't afford food, a car, summer camp, college. My mom would cry over financial stress, and she's such a wonderful mom. I'd be stressed out. I'm like, I'm going to make a ton of money, buy my mom a house and a car. Money's going to buy me love and happiness. And everything I did from the time I was 18 until about when I was 32, everything I did reaffirmed that money does buy love and happiness. And then I had a great paradigm shift, and I learned a more valuable lesson, that money doesn't buy love or happiness. What money does is it allows you to shop. And if you live in a world of not enough as a victim, where things happen to you, money will never buy you happiness. If you live in the world of just enough, where things happen for you, buying things you don't need to impress people you don't like, you're not going to have happiness. But if you live in an abundant world where you receive so you can give, you're not one of those people who lie to themselves and say, I give so I can receive. That's a trade. That's a negotiation. That's a scarce world. I receive with full faith that there's more than enough of everything for everyone. I receive without any guilt, resentment, or offense. I receive without feeling separate, inferior, or superior to anyone. I receive as much as I can and ask as big as I can and ask as often as I can for everything that I can. Why? Because I receive through me for others. I live in a world of more than enough of everything for everyone.
So all those things, you've been practicing this for many years. And we talked about Bob Proctor a few weeks ago. The guy changed my life, him and John Assaraf, and of course, Napoleon Hill totally changed my life. But I was in the deepest hole ever. I mean, I think that sometimes you need to drop and roll down to a hole that's so deep, so dark that you really think that there's no way I'm going to get out of it. And then let yourself listen and change yourself. But let's talk about just the regular Joe that had, didn't have to overcome any crazy obstacles, come from a regular family with regular people, have a regular job. He's a business owner and he's not happy with what's going on with the business. What is the one thing out of all of those, out of your philosophy that you would say that do this or change your mind to that, or say this every morning, or change the way that you do things to that, and you will change your business?
I have 5 daily practices, and it will change your business, your life. It will change you mentally, spiritually, financially, guaranteed. Number 1, take inventory of your values. Know your what. Don't be afraid of being a hypocrite. Number 2, ask. Learn one question. Do you know anyone that can help me? In person, on the phone, via email, and media. Ask, do you know anyone that can help me? There are no gatekeepers, just sponsors and power sponsors in your life. Everyone's here to help. 3, be a student. Like my brother said, be more interested than interesting. If you want to live a life of luck, then learn the mathematical equation of luck. What you pay attention to and give your intention to, what you think, say, do, and believe, and those unconscious competencies of your personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions equal what? Attention plus intention equals coincidence. That's how you get the luck of your life. 4, do it now. 100% of the things you do now get done. The difference between successful people and happy people and everybody else is happy and successful people get things done. So do it now. If you can't do it now, put it into your calendar and study it tomorrow. Prioritize it by the inventory of values that you take, and then decide on what you're going to ask for help from people in person, on the phone, via email, and media. Finally, most importantly, every day I practice ending fear. I'm a ferocious Buddha. There's 4 steps in practicing ending fear. Number 1, identify what you're afraid of. There's 2 different types of fear, primary and secondary fears. Primary fears are the basic ones that, Freud talked about. Secondary fears are the ones that you'll practice identifying. For me, they include, but aren't limited to, the need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, the need to be inferior, the need to be superior, the need to be angry, anxious, frustrated, worried, angry, resentful, guilty. All of these things have wasted millions of dollars of time, money, and resource in my life. And I have to, number 1, learn to identify it. 2, I need to be ferocious and stop. Don't try to resist it. Don't try to accelerate through it, right? Just stop. And then be a Buddha and drop. Breathe through your nose, over your eyes, out through your mouth, to the end of the universe at least 6 times until you get to center and peace, where you then can align with the values and inventory that you took of those values, personal, experiential, giving and receiving values, and you can roll in the right direction. When you're in fear, when you're in ego-based consciousness, primary or secondary, you are on fire, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, on fire. If you're on fire, everybody knows, stop, drop, and roll. Be a ferocious Buddha like me. You will make more money, help more people, and have more fun with these 5 daily practices.
That's totally true. I totally agree. I found that I was like the complete opposite. And once I changed those things, started meditating, understand the whole breathing thing, and that meditation is not about just being silent in one place and not think about everything. It's it's the actual practice of trying to clear everything.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. And I love the fact that know your what. Many people know your why, but you're like, okay, what's your what you want,
Once you know
what
your what,
life you
you
want.
know your why, right? Once you know your what, and I'm always amazed. You want to test how many people don't know their what? Just ask them one question. What do you want to do today?
They say,
99.9%. Yeah, right? Or, and if you really want to get to the basics, ask someone, what do you want to eat today? Uh, Look, they can't, people that don't know their what don't know how to make a decision. You're already creating void, shortages, and obstacles, interference, and corrosion to the answers, the truth, the thing that you're connected to all the time, 24 hours a day, when you're awake and when you sleep. You are connected to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons that exist. You are created to and connected to the truth, and you're connected to everybody else. In order to effectuate it, you got to know your what.
once you know your what, I mean, I think that drive is super important, but if you don't have a reason for the drive, or something in your life created that drive, because you have to have perseverance, to light that fire under your ass so you can now drive is not easy.
No.
So how do someone who's like, God damn it, why can't I continue? Where's my tenacity? Where is my drive? How do I find my drive to wake up every morning and kick ass?
It's in the difference between motivation, transition, and inspiration. Motivation gets you up and gets you back up. Motivation gets you started and gets you back started. So in this case, you need to figure out what motivates me in order to transition it into inspiration, the process of eliminating the corrosion and interference, the shortages, voids, and obstacles, the process of being connected all the time. But it doesn't happen without being motivated. So in order to be motivated, you have to see, how can I get started? You can use fear to get started. You can get friends to get started, get an accountability partner, or you can just lower the bar. You can just lower the bar to a point that gets you moving. So when I wanted to go start working out and making my health a priority, I told myself, because the funny thing about working out in my life is I've never consistently woke up every morning and said, oh, I can't wait to work out. But every time I worked out, 100% of the time, thousands of workouts I've done, 100% of the time when I'm done working out, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did that.
A great way is just not do a huge step. Just put your shoes next to your bed.
That, you nailed it. And that's how I started. And now, because of the way the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind work together, you actually get addicted to the good habits the way that you used to create shortages, voids, and obstacles from the good habits. So instead of feeling like, oh, I don't want to eat that broccoli, you feel like, I want to eat the broccoli. Instead of saying, I don't want to work out, you immediately say, I got to work out. You have to force yourself not to, to take a day off. Is hard. When you're in that continuum, we all know it. It's like, oh, I got to go to the gym, right? That's because we've lowered the bar and we're in the inspiration side of things, not the motivation side of things.
I started doing this. I'm very ADHD. I don't have patience for anything. I am like, next, done, even if I'm not done. So
Yeah.
I found out that one of my issues, mainly, with internet and the fact that you can just open another browser tab and all that, I start something, and after a few minutes, I jump to do something else. So I knew that this is something that I really have to stop, because it's really a business killer. If you're doing something, finish it, then go to the next thing. And I have problems with that. So I decided that whenever I do something, like yesterday, I wrote an article for a magazine, and the minute my hand went to the mouse to just, I don't know even why, open a new tab and just go there, I was like, wait, this article, you're finishing. Like, you finish writing that, in one sit, and that's it. Don't try to finish everything today, just this article. Instead of making everything huge, just this article, and then there will be another time, and one, and with time, I'll stop doing it, right?
Exactly. And I think, one of the things to finish up with that will help us is to understand how the brain works. And this is John Asseroff and other ones of our mentors. When I learned that the brain, our focus can only focus in on one thing. Why is this important? Because people see me as the king of multitasking. And I actually believed the BS that I was being told by people that, man, you're an incredible multitasker. How do you do 3 to 5 things at one time? And John Asseroff told me, he goes, Dave, you don't do 3 to 5 things at one time. It's impossible for you to do 3 to 5 things at one time. What you do and what you should exercise with, what you should build the muscle of, is reacting and refocusing. What David Meltzer does really well is I'm a refocuser, meaning I can do something and I know the speed of light, we can't understand or can't sense it, but almost at the speed of light, I can focus in on this, look over here, focus back, and it appears as if I'm doing 2 things at one time. So if I exercise and practice that muscle, go here, 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 it looks to the human eye, to the senses and memory of the human being and its capabilities, that I'm doing 4 things at once. No, I'm not. I'm doing one thing at a time, just very quickly refocusing on each one of those things. And it appears as if I multitask. This allows us to lower the bar. This allows us to work within the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious continuum. This allows us to work with the secret sauce, the Meltzer motto, the Meltzer mantra of enjoying the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential, right? Dino, vote for what you want. Don't vote for what people that love you and like you want for you. Especially, I know in one point of your career, you kept voting for what you didn't want in your life. And then you were pissed off when what you didn't want kept appearing in your life. It's because you were paying attention and putting intention into what you didn't want, instead of voting and electing in your life what you did want by enjoying the consistent every day, by lowering the bar, persistent without quitting because you lowered the bar, pursuit because it was easy of what? Your potential, not anything else.
This is so amazing. It's a great way to wrap this thing up. David, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me. If anybody wants to reach me, it's david@dmeltzer.com. Look forward to seeing you Fridays at Free Training. And if you miss it, featured on Spotify, Entrepreneur, or any other platform, reach out, david@dmeltzer.com.